What if the reason you feel so out of place in this world is because a part of you remembers something more? There's a feeling that's hard to explain, but once you feel it, you can't unfeel it. It's not just I don't fit in, it's deeper than that. It's this sense that you're not from here. You look at the world and think, why does this feel so backwards? Why are people so disconnected? Why does everything feel like survival instead of connection? And maybe you've never said this out loud, but something in you knows this can't be it. Keep listening. Welcome to the Inner Magic Academy podcast. If you're loving our videos, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks and enjoy this episode. Welcome back to the Inner Magic Academy podcast. I'm your host, Peter Magic. So in the last episode, we explored the idea of your soul's blueprint. So when it comes to your neurodivergence, so your sensitivity and your deeper awareness, that was never random. So in this episode, we're going to start expanding that even further. We're going to start exploring the feeling of being alien and what that might actually mean. So when we say the word alien, we think of, think of you in this lifetime, in this experience, being born into a world where it doesn't feel right. You kind of go through life, experiencing what you're experiencing, but kind of going like, I don't feel like I'm from here. Just how I see people, living in this world, it doesn't feel aligned with how, I would envisage a world to be. And we look in this world and we look how right here, right now, there's so much dysfunction, there's so much disconnection. People are kind of, how do I say it, not communicating and connecting with each other on a more deeper level and holding space for each other and being more in unity. It feels like so many people are in not only in survival mode, they feel so like disconnected from each other, right? And when you look at that as someone who comes into this world and kind of as you're growing up and you look at it and goes, this doesn't feel right. I don't feel like I'm from here. I don't quite feel like I fit in. And like I mentioned with the neurodivergence, how this is all part of your soul's blueprint in experiencing things more in depth. And so you notice more, you have a deeper awareness. And with that awareness also means that you have a deeper connection with your own soul, because you can expand and go beyond just what you're in and experiencing in this world, right? So because of that, you're open to something more, right? To something deeper. And so you can feel alien in this world and how people operate and how you see people when they're not being authentic. You notice people when they're just looks like they're only seeing what's in front of their eyes. It's a very surface level. It's very superficial. And there's more to life. There's more to not only this world. You see and you look in the sky and you can see how big not only the universe is, the whole multiverse, how big it actually is. And if we think that we are the only ones, human beings, the only ones here having experiences, then I mean, we've got to be living under a rock. I'm sorry, because what you see in front of you is not only what there is. There's so much more. And your own soul, if you're someone who has that deeper curiosity and kind of feeling that you are alien in this world, then there's a reason for that, right? There's a reason you have this deeper awareness and different perspective than other people that are operating at the surface level and believing everything that's in front of their eyes and all the things that they're born into and just accepting as this is reality. You as someone that's deeply aware and curious and wants to question everything and there's a reason why you want to do this, right? It also means there's something more expansive at a soul level that your soul already knows. And we're going to get more deeper into that now. So I want to normalize this first. So when it comes to feeling alien, it can look like feeling disconnected from how people live, questioning societal norms constantly, feeling like you're observing, not belonging, and feeling like the world is upside down. So this isn't dysfunction, it's perception. So you have that deeper perception. So when you see beyond surface level reality, you start to notice the gaps, the disconnection, the lack of presence, the absence of deeper awareness. So when you look out in the world right here, right now, you can see that so many people operating from survival. People are, day in, day out, same routines, same patterns, same things play out. So you're someone who notices beyond what plays out in front of your eyes. And having this deeper awareness, you notice that within yourself, you notice there's certain patterns and cycles within yourself. And, regardless of that playing out, noticing that playing out, you have a deeper, expansive perception on reality. And the more you expand to, the more you start to wonder and question things and expand. What happens is you start to you start to connect the dots beyond what plays out at a surface level. You start to notice more things within yourself. Then you also start to, it's almost like a remembrance, like a resonance. It's a feeling that you can't quite explain, but you feel this feeling of being alien in a world that you don't quite fit in. You notice that you've adapted to this world. You're doing whatever you need to do to get by. And with through your neurodivergence, it's a challenge. It's a struggle in this world. There's so much pulling your focus and your attention away. There's so much distracting you, and a lot of neurodivergence are in survival mode, but that does not mean that they're not more aware of things beyond, that surface level reality that is playing out on a physical level, right? So this is that feeling of wanting to expand, having that curiosity. And that's not a mistake. That is actually part of your soul's blueprint and why you're here, right? Because you see through the illusion of what's in front of you, and there's something there. There's something deeper for this awareness that your soul is here to awaken you to, so you can remember. And when you start to remember, right, you actually start to unmask more. You start to express that. You start to articulate whatever wants to come through you. And it's coming from a deeper point of view. It starts to come more from a soul level. And that is actually, if you think about it, it's beyond this world, right? You start to see things beyond this world. Like you have a perception beyond this world. That's not a mistake. That is your soul awakening you to and expanding you through this experience to awaken you to the deeper layers of reality. And if you are someone who, regardless of not seeing, other life forms here other than human beings, if you're only seeing human beings on the planet, which is what we're seeing, but you're someone who knows that we're not the only ones, then that is you understanding, regardless of what you see in front of your eyes, that there is other life forms in the multiverse that exist. And so if you have a resonance with that and you feel and you sense it, there's a deeper knowing. It also means that maybe your soul has had other experiences and you're now remembering that because you're expanding to that level of mind, right? And it's like it turns something on within within you. It's like you're expanding to that level of mind that comes at a soul level, and you're remembering that. And you're here to anchor in something on this planet through that. Because if you look at where human beings are right here, right now, it's so dysfunctional. So people are so disconnected. People are, even though technologically it looks like things are advancing on the planet, we as human beings with our perception, it's so surface level. We're not in touch with something that's far more deeper. And that also means we're easier to control. We're easier to, you know, we're easier to control on the planet. And that perception is why we are where we are. That's why you're seeing what is playing out in front of you, it's looking like it's things are getting harder, right? And people are struggling to make ends meet and struggling to survive. Everything's getting more expensive out in the world. And people that are neurodivergent, who experience the world more in depth, they're the ones who are struggling the most. But they're also the ones who are here to mirror something deeper in the world, to bring awareness to, other human beings on the planet, to actually start to take notice of, there's more playing out on a more deeper level. And this is why I do what I do through this podcast, because I'm slowly expanding your mind, expanding your awareness. And the ones who are listening to this already have that deeper sense of connection, deeper sense of empathy, deeper sense of not only the way you think and feel, you know there's far more to the reality than just here on Earth, just here on this planet, just here on this experience that you're having right here, right now. Okay, so now I'm going to expand you to this idea. Now let's open this up even further. What if your soul carries more than just this lifetime? Not in the way that needs to be proven, but in a way that resonates, right? There's a resonance there. There's a deeper sense of knowing. What if the feeling of being not from here comes from a deeper level of awareness? It's a deeper level of mind, and your soul is a higher level of mind that is having, and this is very complex to explain in, you know, in human terms, but it's like, think of right here, right now, not looking at time as moving through time and how you're moving through it now. Think of your souls having simultaneous experience in many different, you know, dimensions and realities beyond just this experience. And through that, there's a resonance there. There's something that you're picking up through this experience that's here to anchor something in this lifetime, and here to help shift and change something through this current experience on the planet. Because if you're looking where things are right here, right now, Earth needs a lot of support and a lot of help to not only expand awareness, we need to really shift out of what we're in, because the direction we're going, it's not looking a positive one, if you can see what is playing out. And so it's very important that we have this deeper perspective, an expansive way of looking at reality. And that's done on purpose, which is why, if you're someone who experiences the world in this way, is in touch with a deeper resonance at a soul level, this is your soul waking you up to something far more and helping you expand to something far more, right? So this comes through a sense that there is more than this physical reality. There are other ways of existing. There is a different way of being, and your system can feel the difference. So because you notice that this reality, this world, is completely out of alignment, it feels like it's upside down. So you're someone who, say, most of your life, you've maybe realized, to some level, you've realized that it just feels like, I don't quite fit in here. And I don't like, this is not a world that I would create and envisage in my own mind. And I'm here and I'm experiencing it and I'm adapting and I'm doing the best I can to fit in, to get by. But the way human beings live on this planet, why do people operate and function in this way? Why don't people question things? Why don't people connect more? Why don't people expand more? Why does it seem like everything is at a surface level? Why do people just accept that what they've been told? Why don't people question things? Why don't people go within their own system, within themselves, and expand to a deeper sense of reality? So if you're a deep thinker and you're a deep feeler, there's a reason why you have this deeper resonance, this deeper feeling. And now I'll share a deeper insight here with you is, we're going through this shift on the planet right now where the level of awareness on the planet is expanding. And it's expanding because there's so much more the light that we're anchoring in through the solar activity, and it's awakening something within you. There's a remembrance there. And I've been hinting this in the past few episodes, as like you're planted here as a seed. So now it's like you're starting to expand. And as you expand, there's more that's coming in through that. And you're now starting to notice more. You're starting to see what's out of alignment. You're starting to see more of the dysfunction, the dysregulation, not only within your own system, within your own nervous system. You're starting to notice we can't keep functioning and operating in the same way. I can't keep being this version of myself just to fit in. And, I'm noticing that it's not taking me on a path that feels aligned, where I feel more at peace and ease within my own system. And so how do I then project a version of myself that is being more authentic, being more honest, being more open, feeling like you're in a more regulated state, and not constantly being squeezed and suppressed and put into this box where it feels like you're completely suffocated. You're someone who's starting to realize the importance of continuing to expand and speak from a deeper resonance, a deeper truth that's coming from a level, a deeper level of reality, right? And so that is done on purpose. That is your soul really helping you shift out of, where things have been on this planet for eons. So that does make you have that feeling of being alien in this world, because you are awakening to that resonance that your own soul is also not only earthbound, it's not only had experiences here on earth, it's again looking at time not in how you're experiencing it here, but there's simultaneous experiences that your soul is having, and you're now online and connected with that. And there's a deeper feeling, and you might not be able to find the words to articulate that feeling, but you just know. There's a deeper sense of knowing there. If you're liking this episode, you'll love our free masterclass, Unmask Your Relationships. Unmask Your Relationships is for anyone who craves deeper, more fulfilling relationships, especially if you're a highly sensitive person or people pleaser. In this training, you'll discover what's holding you back and learn how to actually break free from people pleasing and validation seeking. Understand why you attract certain people and situations into your life, and start to identify and transform the parts of you that hide behind your ego's mask. And this training is absolutely free. So watch it now by going to innermagicacademy.com/unmask. This is just going to reiterate a lot of the things that we've just been discussing. So when we talk about the world, we're told we are evolving, but are we? Right? So we're more connected digitally, but we're more disconnected emotionally. We're more advanced technologically, but we're still operating from survival. So there's a lack of unity, a lack of presence, a lack of depth. And if you feel alien, you feel the gap deeply. You feel it. You know what's out of alignment. And just because technologically things look like they're advancing on the planet. Now with AI, for example, right, it's helping us expand. But if with AI, we are using AI to help us expand, if we're doing it from the level of perception that most human beings are at right now, it's not actually going to help us, because we're so, again, coming to the dysfunction, to the dysregulation, the lack of people connecting with each other. Like, people really struggle to not only connect with each other, to hold the space, because the world's so fast, so loud, people are so busy, they're chasing their tail, and it feels like they don't even have a moment to connect with each other. And think of parents who have children who, they're struggling to make ends meet, and how children are, they're not getting what they really need, early on when they're developing, because the parents are so distracted, they're so burnt out, they're just in survival mode. And so how are we going to evolve as human beings if from generation to generation to generation, people come into this world and they normalize already what's in front of them? And I did earlier episodes on this, talking about this, but if they normalize already what's in front of them, they're born into this world and things continue to shift as they have been, where do you think the world's going to go? You know, do you think it's evolving, or do you think that we're actually going further and we're getting further and further disconnected and separate from each other? And look at all the things in this world that are there to keep us in fear, that are there to keep us separated from each other. This is done on purpose. This is not helping us evolve. This is making us feel more alone, isolated, and disconnected, and more confused within our own selves and our own identity. Again, this is done on purpose. So, if you're someone who's aware that this is happening, then you are here to be a change maker and not only face that discomfort and not only shift things from within your own system, you're here to be brave and courageous and expand to that level of mind that your soul is here to help you anchor into this experience to create change on the planet. So what we really need is more connection. We need to slow down. We need to allow ourselves to connect with a deeper part of ourselves. We need to disconnect from all the things outside of us, pulling our focus and our attention away. Get back within our own system, within ourselves, and connect with a more deeper aspect of ourselves. Because what we do is we build a deeper bond and connection with our own souls. And as we anchor that light into our being, we continue to expand. We not only expand our own mind, we expand our hearts. And through that, we can not only start to hold space for those deeper parts of ourselves, we can also do that to others in the world. And what do you think happens through this? Right? There's more of a we feel more connected to each other. There's a deeper connection there. We can hold space for each other. We can connect with each other. We can accept our differences, right? And through learning to hold that space, more people feel more seen, more heard, more understood in what they're experiencing and moving through. And as a neurodivergent being, you know, we're all experiencing reality in depth, but it's not all the same. You know, some of us are those deep thinkers, some of us are those deep feelers. And for example, someone who's autistic think of them being put in this world right here, right now. It's going to be very, very hard for them in this reality that we're in right now. And so, you know, they are here to mirror what's out of alignment, and they are. And that's why it's important to continue to expand yourself, continue to go within your own system and create more regulation and peace from the inside out, because that is what will actually shift and change things on the planet. Because the more you do that within your own system, the more you project a more authentic version of yourself, the more you mirror something more deeper, the more it expands, you know, helps expand other human beings on the planet. So this is just going to solidify a lot of the things that we've just been discussing. So why can you see this, right? Why can you notice these things? It's because of your sensitivity. It's because of your awareness. It's because of your connection to something deeper. So neurodivergent individuals often process more deeply, feel more intensely, and perceive patterns others miss. So this isn't a flaw, it's access. So you're not disconnected from reality, you're connected to more of it. And that also means in the reality you're experiencing right here, right now, because it's completely upside down, because we're completely out of alignment. It also means the way that you're here to operate on the planet it's asking you to be someone you're not. And so you are struggling from the inside out, because this world is asking you to be someone you're not. It's trying to squeeze and suppress you into the mold of someone that's constantly chasing tail and being in survival mode. And that is when you struggle to expand. That is when you struggle to hold space and connect with something far deeper. Because if you're constantly being pulled in all these different directions, distracted, right? And this world is trying to desensitize you through, you know, alcohol, drugs, all these things that are out there stimulating you in ways and really, you know, pulling you away from being connected to a deeper part of yourself, which is really being connected to more of your soul's essence, right? So this world is siphoning your energy in all these different directions. And so not only are you out of alignment from the inside out, you're not connected with a deeper aspect of yourself. And that's why you see so many people in this reality that feel so lost and confused and not only desensitized, completely numb and disconnected from their own emotional core, a deeper sense of who they really are at a soul level. And so it's almost like seeing people on the planet that are just walking programs with no soul. It's almost like looking into a world where people are zombies walking around, looking at the ground, it doesn't even look like they are connected with something deeper. They're just walking around like, again, like if you watch the Matrix series and you see people just walking around, almost looks like they're just computers walking around, right? They don't have a deeper sense of connection with something far deeper. They don't have more soul. And you can see someone when you talk to someone who have the ability to hold space, who have the ability to be more engaged and feel like they're actually, it feels like they have more life force. It feels like when you're in the room with that person, you feel more lit up. You feel like you're alive. That's someone that's got a lot of soul anchored in. That's someone who's deeply aware. That's someone who understands what this world's trying to do, but's living more in alignment with who they're here to be. So they're in touch with a deeper part of themselves. They know that, they can't keep living in the way this world wants them to live. And so they know they have to pave their own path. They have to, even though it's difficult as neurodivergent, because most of us only know survival. That's all that's been mirrored to us. And so what we're trying to do in where we are right here, right now, we're trying to break out of those cycles, things that we've carried on through family lineage, or the deep core, belief systems and things that have kept us in a limited space and suppressed us. And so many of us struggle with dysregulation, all right? And so many of us struggle with that because we struggle to express ourselves. We struggle to unmask and be more of an authentic version of ourselves, because what this world is doing is trying to keep us disconnected from that. And when it keeps us disconnected from that, right, what happens? We don't anchor in more of our soul. And so we then can't create change on the planet, right? We can't create a positive change on the planet without our souls. We need more soul. So the reason that you can see through the illusion of what plays out in front of you, the reason you can see deeper aspects of what is playing out, is because your soul is helping you awaken to something far deeper, so you can start to anchor change on the planet. This is what process more and more of us are going through right here, right now. And it's all part of the change, that you can see reality from a deeper lens, from a deeper perspective. It's all part of what we're all here to anchor in on the planet. Okay, so this is going to ground and anchor in a lot of the things that we've been discussing throughout this episode. So this is where everything's going to start to land for you. So you don't feel alien by accident. You feel alien because you're not fully aligned with the current system. You're aware of what's missing. You're here to embody something different, not by forcing change, but by being it, by living with more awareness, more presence, more connection. So just by you being more authentically you, just by you unmasking, understanding those layers of conditioning, right? The way that you've adapted just to fit in, to cope and to survive, you learn to unpeel those layers of conditioning. And as you expand, think about it. As you expand, you unpeel those layers of your heart, and your heart also expands to and meets a deeper part of yourself. And there's more of a soul resonance, because it's like your heart is like that frequency dial, and now it's able to anchor in more light into your being, right? Through your heart and through your mind, you actually open the doorway for your soul to come more into your experience, to give you more life force to not only heal and learn, and you're shifting things from the inside, you then start to project a version of yourself that is now more in alignment, right? Regardless of what plays out in front of you, you know this feeling of being alien, that you are here to create something different on the planet that feels more in alignment with the resonance of your soul, what your soul already knows. So as a human being, you know and you understand that you don't have all of the answers, but you need to expand and meet a deeper aspect of yourself so you can start to shift and change that perception in the way that you look at yourself, the way you're looking at reality. And that helps you not only anchor you far deeper beneath the surface. No matter what is happening on the outside, it won't pull you away from now being in alignment and living in alignment. So this is what we're doing as human beings. This is part of evolution. We've got to connect with a deeper part of ourselves. It's so goddamn important that we follow a path that feels more aligned and stop trying to be someone we're not on the planet. Stop trying to follow how other people are living their lives. Follow a path that feels more in alignment with the deeper part of ourselves. Learn to anchor more of that in. Learn to continue to expand. And as you go through this process, the path will start to become more clearer in front of you. And that's why your soul has a plan for you. That's why your soul already knows before you come into this experience. There's a blueprint there. It knew what you were going to be born into. It knew the things that you were going to go through, the experiences, the conditional environment, the conditioned identity that was going to be formed through that, in order to help you have purpose, have meaning for being here. And as you start to anchor in more of your soul in this experience and you expand more and more and more, you know, you're living on purpose. That is, you're living on purpose, that you're living on alignment. And it's through the depth in which you experience reality, the deep emotional core of your being, the deep mental capacity that you have. The more you expand to that, the more you actually create something more positive and beautiful on the planet. That's you living in alignment. That's you creating something meaningful on the planet. That's you building a deeper connection and guiding others and showing others how to actually do that. We're coming to the end of today's episode, and I want to help you shift that perspective on how you see yourself and how you currently looking at the world, that, you know, what is playing out in front of your eyes. So if you've ever felt like you're not from here, maybe that feeling isn't something to suppress, maybe it's something to listen to, because what your soul knows might be exactly what humanity has forgotten. So there's a remembrance here, and there's a resonance at a soul level. You're remembering something that you've forgotten the moment you're born into this world. It's almost like a veil of forgetting everything else before this experience. And as you've gone through this journey, you have this conditioned identity, right? You've learned to cope and to survive and adapt to the world in the way the world wants you to live. But now, because you're seeing what's playing out in front of you, it's completely out of alignment. And you've known this for a very long time, and you did what you needed to do up until this point, but now you're remembering. Your soul's awakening you to something far deeper. And it's through that remembrance that you're here to anchor something in through that. You're here to anchor, not only anchor that in, to embody that, and now start to then create that change in the world. And you're not going to have all of the pieces of the puzzle right in front of you. It's not about knowing it all right here, right now. It's just about slowly unpeeling those layers of conditioning, slowly starting to expand your heart and your mind a little more and more and more each day. And the more you do this, the more that path will start to, you know, become clearer as you go along. This is all part of the process. This is the Inner Magic Academy podcast, and I'm really glad you're here. Thanks so much for joining us for this episode. If you enjoyed it, we'd really appreciate it if you could subscribe to our channel and give us a like or even a comment. It really does help so much in getting our work out there to the people who need it. We're so grateful for you being here, and we'll see you for the next episode.